Hi, continuing reading the Gashan Discourses. I'm in the car today. Uh, from where I left off, the last sentence was, and I knew at the time that the king must also give forth light, but he did not know me. He had long forgotten me. In fact, he did not even know I existed. I went to see the king on several occasions. At first I was always turned away, but I went again and I went again. And yet in the beginning I did not fully realize just why I was going to the palace. Later, after some thought, I realized the message that I was to deliver to the king. It was that the people were suffering, and I wanted to save them from the torment that they were enduring. I wanted the king to change the picture so that the farmer could retain his land and be able to work his land and support his family. I wanted light for my people. I knew that as I went quietly and peacefully from village to village, from person to person, I was feeding them spiritually and philosophically, but I also knew that I needed help materially, and we needed the cooperation from a mortal who had such control. I also knew that trouble was brewing in our land, and I knew that the soldiers were in a great state of unrest. The people were suffering, and they were facing a great deal of destruction. Yet the king would do but very little about it. He would only direct in the wrong direction, which was evident from the very beginning. How much I wanted to reach him as an individual, to tell him that I knew what I knew should be done for the people. But there was trouble to come upon the Jews, and they would have a lot to face in life. Eventually it came to pass that I had my audience with the king. I said unto him, all that you possess this day is not yours to keep, and you claim everything that is within the city. You claim all that men may have out there. You claim all that men by the sweat of their brow have toiled for. You claim all that is within your domain, including this palace that you possess. But even as you claim all of this, know then this truth. All that you claim is only so lended, because eventually it will all return to that from whence it came. The power and the lust that you have today is also only temporary. This power that you have many at your beck and call, will be of no value in time. It shall eventually fade away along with everything else. And know then that I speak unto you this day in your behalf. I speak to you as a man, as a child of God, the same as I. But it better unto man that you give that which is not needed unto the righteous, in order to help the afflicted and those who are in want. I do not mean for you to spoil their life, nor take them out of their environment that they are accustomed to. No, I do not mean that. But if with your hand, your right hand, you extend it unto the poor, you are then going to do much more good than you can possibly do by sitting here on your throne, so powerful like, so supreme, ruling the people and ruling the villages. No, this will not give you strength, because soon you are going to have to give it all up. Soon you shall perish from the physical side of life, and you will become naked in the sunlight of God when you return to the ethereal side. So let us not be naked now. I was just thinking this could apply to many a dictator on earth today, and some governments too. As I spoke unto him, I could see his face. It became very red. Yes, it did, children, but I did not come to him to make him angry. No, I only spoke unto him softly and tried to be ever so convincing. I tried to let him know that while his position was important, being so ordained, he was still stepping over his bounds by taking more authority than he should in ruling his people. But he only replied, be it as it is the fate of men, and therefore it is the fate of men, then they shall suffer unto me. But right then and there I answered, saying, It is not for you to determine the fate of men, by decreeing that the fate of mankind be as it is. It is your and my destiny, and it is within our power to change the picture. It is within your power upon this plane to lift the veil, to lift the pressures from man, so that he may not toil as he had toiled in the past, so that he may have and own his land, so that he may till the soil and raise his crops, and finally so that he may then raise his family and find peace and contentment and goodwill among men. Yes, it was very difficult to break down that barrier. Was I successful? Perhaps to a degree. And it is the same today when you ask, is Agasha successful? Not entirely at the present time, but to a degree, yes. However, I knew then, children, that Herod must live as a man and not as a power of evil, if he were to bring forth light and peace. And this he was to give, because he was destined to do so. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world, if by doing so he loses sight of his own soul? Once a man loses sight of the God consciousness, he then becomes ever so empty in life. We must know then that as we toil in the field, and as we struggle and strive to earn a livelihood and maintain bread on the table, eventually we shall succeed, and that same bread will then cometh unto us. We must know that this is the right way to live, to think, and to earn our way into the heavenly consciousness. When men had returned to have power over many, and I have seen this happen so many, many times in so many lives, this power was given unto them, but it was given only as a test to see what they would do with it. Today we have the same. It is no different today. Yes, in the days long beyond the period of my stay, those with power are doing the same, even powerful businessmen. Many of them are doing it because of greed, because of lust for power. Others perhaps have different reasons. In any event, we should realize that the kings and the leaders in the past who ruled unwisely by leading their people in the wrong way have of necessity suffered the consequences of such wrong action down through the ages. Thus they have become enlightened, and through realization they now know that the leaders of today who are on the wrong path are only building up more karma for themselves, and that they too shall suffer the consequences in lives to come. Maybe some of those African dictators like Mugabe could take note of that. The next section is the little boy. Jesus speaks about his being a little boy, and that'll be interesting. Okay. All for now.